Hi, I'm Sue Landay. I'm the president of Trainers Warehouse, and this is our very first show and share that we're trying out this new format. Our first moment for sharing is Who's First, which is a game show buzzer that allows participants to ring in and for facilitators to see who answered first. The idea for our show and shares are that I'm going to demonstrate the product, give you a little bit of history on the tool, where it came from, how we conceived of it, and why, and talk about how it's used, and then give folks who are on the call an opportunity to share some of their experiences in using this tool. So we'll post it onto our website. Hopefully others can make use of this as well. Who's First? I'm going to show you the very first Who's First that we ever made was a wired version. It had 4 players, and each buzzer connected through the wires through a cable here. So this is where this came from, and this is how where we've evolved to. So we've come a long way with it. The first thing we're going to look at is the back of the unit, where you'll see there's off, there's an on button, and there's silent. So you will hear some beeps. And if I go from off, when I do turn it on, you'll see that it runs through each color of the lights. At the top, you'll see some other buttons here, and they say right, wrong, and a hold or a reset button. So we'll talk about those in a moment. I'm also going to get this set up at the beginning by moving each of these switches to the on position. Off, on, it's right there. And you want to just make sure each of your buzzers is on before you start to play. So we have 6 colors and 6 pads that go along with the light colors, and the facilitator pad, which is multicolored, so it's easily discernible. And these, let's see, are all on. And then once it's on, within a fraction of a second, you can see who rang in first. So we see the first to ring in flashes, and the second to ring in is solid. So I'm going to press the reset button, and I can either press it down on the table, or it's the feet that kind of trigger the on off. So if you're holding it in your hand and you're not near a desk, you can depress one of the feet and that will also reset it. So again, orange is the first to ring in, I'm pressing blue right now, and that's the second. So the reason this is so popular is that facilitators loved using Jeopardy-like games in the classroom, or just kind of a quick action, right, wrong, Q&A for lesson reinforcement. But what they found is that when their teams were really getting into this experience, they would get really frustrated because the teacher couldn't, or the facilitator couldn't tell within that fraction of a second which team rang their call bell first or raised their hand first. And so what was supposed to be a really fun experience became a real frustration for facilitators. So the idea of having these buzzers that can eliminate those frustrations was just perfect. We have found that facilitators were frustrated that students were kind of answering before they completed saying their question. So we created this, the reset button, to be able to hold, so that while this button at the top is depressed, people can't ring in. So let's say I'm facilitating, I'm holding this button at the top. Nobody can ring in until I let go of it, and then people can ring in. So it gives the facilitator a little more control over the classroom experience. I'm going to hit reset. I'm going to show you one more feature on the back. There is a standard mode and a random mode. So when I go to random, we're gonna randomly select one team to start. Hit the facilitator button and it'll go through it one more time or as many times as you'd like. And then I can go back to standard mode once again just by shifting this button. And we're back to normal mode. One other feature that this newest version has is that there is a rechargeable battery. So you can see there's no plugs, there's on-off switches. And if you do this in advance, you're gonna have plenty of time to play your game without the battery being, running out. And it does come with a plug. So overnight before your lesson, you can, for your training session, just make sure that you charge it overnight, and you'll see the indicator light on the back go to green when it's fully charged. You do have the option on who's first to do a wrong answer sound and a right answer sound. That just kind of adds fun to the experience. All right, questions. Let's see. Sarah, my colleague Sarah's on the phone too. It's going to help me out a little bit with some Q&A. So Sarah, if you want to unmute yourself.
So are any of you current users, or are all of you interested in how the unit works?
So not a current user. I'm a training manager and we do lots of training. So it's definitely been something that my trainers have asked about, but I appreciate the demonstration because again, it's like, is it compatible with our systems? Do we have to hook it up to anything before? My one question is, from time to time we do large trainings. Mm-hmm. So is there additional discs or an add-on set, or is this kind of it?
Yeah, a lot of good questions bundled into there, and thank you. So first of all, the range for this is like 80 feet. So, huge distance. So you can accommodate a really big room. With Who's First, we just have the 6 colors or 6 teams. There are a couple of reasons for that. One is that we made these pads not like an individual button, but large enough for a group of people to kind of be next to each other and all have access to. In terms of a game show like this, where you're not necessarily relying on everyone to answer, but it's sort of a competition between teams. If you have more than 6 teams, it gets really frustrating to accumulate a lot of points. So, when we were talking to the folks at Game Show Pro, for example, Dan Yeaman wrote a book on facilitating great Jeopardy games. And he said, you should try to limit it to, 4 to 5 teams, 6 at most, for just that reason. Because you don't want players to get frustrated that they can never be the ones to answer.
That kind of is a standalone feature. We don't have to plug it into any type of computer, anything like that. It's just all standalone, battery operated.
Yes, this is standalone, battery operated.
And then last question, it's probably on the website. Does the Who's First come like in a carrying case?
It comes in this very nice backpack right here. And inside, you'll see that there's basically a hole for each of the different pads, so you can really travel safely with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's almost like you were hired to ask all these right questions. Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, thanks to everybody who has who's helped out and participated. We look forward to the next one. Have a great day.